Hey everyone, welcome back to Declutter Rhythm. Have you ever spent hours cleaning and organizing only to find that your house is a mess again just a few days later? It's so frustrating, right? You clean up the kitchen, organize the living room, tidy up the bedroom, and then before you know it, the clutter's back. Does that sound like your daily struggle? I totally get it. It feels like no matter how much time and effort you put in, you're always fighting an uphill battle against clutter. It's exhausting and it never seems to end. In today's video, I'm going to share 12 super simple, easy to apply tips that you can start using right now to keep your space neat and organized without having to spend hours cleaning every week. If you're tired of the constant cycle of cleaning and feeling like your efforts don't last, this video is exactly what you need. Stick with me through these 12 tips, and you'll never have to worry about cleaning forever, but still dealing with clutter again. Number 1, let's start with a simple but highly effective tip. Pretend you're a guest in your own home. Have you ever walked into your own home and realized that there's clutter everywhere, but you've just gotten so used to it that it doesn't even bother you anymore? One of the easiest ways to break free from this clutter blind spot is to look at your space as if you're seeing it for the first time. Imagine you're a guest walking through the door. Suddenly, things you've overlooked for months will stand out. Whether it's an overflowing bookshelf, a coffee table full of random items, or a messy kitchen counter, you'll notice the clutter right away. I tried this in my living room and was shocked by what I saw. My coffee table, which I always thought was fine, was actually covered with piles of things I hadn't even noticed: remotes, mugs, papers, and random objects. When I stepped back and looked at it like a guest, the mess was impossible to ignore. I decided to clear it all off and move the table to a different spot. Instantly, the room felt more open and inviting. By pretending to be a guest, you see your home from a fresh perspective. It helps you realize what needs to go and what's just taking up space. This technique makes it easier to declutter because you're not emotionally attached to the items, and you'll be surprised at how much lighter and more spacious your home feels afterward. I'll continue giving more decluttering tips tomorrow, so stay tuned for more. Now let's move on to the next tip, which will help you take action and make those changes even easier. Next, have you ever realized that despite cleaning up some clutter, just seems to disappear into the background? A powerful way to break this habit is to take photos of each room in your house. When you look at your space through a camera lens, it's like seeing everything with new eyes. Things that may have become invisible to you over time suddenly stand out in the pictures. For instance, I took some pictures of my kitchen the other day thinking everything was fine. But when I reviewed the photos, I was surprised by how messy the countertops looked. The random items on the counters and the cluttered drawer were much more obvious in the photos than they were in person. It made me realize how much stuff I had overlooked just because I'm so used to seeing it every day. Even small things like a pile of old papers I had ignored jumped out in the photos. The simple act of stepping back and looking through a lens made everything more apparent. Taking photos allows you to step back and evaluate your home from a different perspective. It's an easy way to identify areas that need attention without the emotional attachment to the items. Once you see it in a photo, it's much easier to decide what needs to go. Plus, it helps you recognize patterns of clutter that tend to build up in certain areas. Let's now move on to a technique that will help you make quick decisions about your belongings, making decluttering even easier. Then ask yourself, would I buy this again? Like that random kitchen gadget that you bought thinking it would revolutionize your cooking. But now it just collects dust at the back of a drawer, or that sweater you haven't worn in years but still think, maybe someday. Here's a simple trick to help you assess whether something is worth keeping. Ask yourself, would I buy this again if I didn't already own it? It sounds almost too easy, but it's surprisingly effective. It forces you to step back and look at each item with fresh eyes instead of holding on to it just because you've had it for a long time. For example, I had this fancy blender I bought on sale a few years ago. At the time, I was convinced it would change my life and make me healthier, of course. But in reality, it spent most of its time hiding in the cupboard, rarely used. Once I asked myself, would I buy this again? It was clear. No, I wouldn't. It was time to go. This question is a simple but powerful way to declutter. It helps you release the emotional attachment we often feel to things simply because they've been in our lives for a while. Once you start using it, you'll find yourself letting go of things that no longer serve a purpose, creating more space and freedom in your home. Let's keep moving with a tip that will help you make even quicker decisions about what stays and what goes. After that, imagine you're moving to a new home. What would you pack and take with you? And what would you leave behind? It sounds like a big task, but really, it's just a mental reset. By imagining yourself packing for a new place, you can see everything in a new light. I've done this several times, and it's always eye-opening. I remember looking through my closet and thinking I was just holding on to a few extra things. But when I imagined packing for a move, I realized there were so many clothes I hadn't worn in months or even years. I hadn't thought about how much space they were taking up until I mentally had to pack them. It's like a sudden aha moment. Suddenly, I could see how much unnecessary stuff I was holding on to. This exercise helps you think more practically about your belongings. You stop holding on to things out of habit and start considering what's truly useful or meaningful to you. It also gives you a clear perspective on what's just taking up valuable space that you could better use for something else. You'll be surprised at how quickly you can identify what truly matters and what doesn't. By using this method, you'll be able to make quicker, more confident decisions when it comes to letting go of things that no longer serve you. Keep going with the question, what have I never noticed about this room? Is one of the quickest ways to wake up your attention to hidden clutter. Our brains are wired to filter out what's familiar, so piles of things can blend into the background. Asking this question forces your mind to look again. I tried this one morning while walking into my hallway with a cup of coffee. At first, everything looked normal, but after a few seconds, I started seeing things I'd completely tuned out: a coat I hadn't worn all winter, a bag sitting by the door for weeks, a layer of dust on the side table. None of it looked terrible, but together it made the space feel heavy. So I spent just 10 minutes clearing it, and the hallway instantly felt brighter and calmer. The truth is, clutter doesn't always scream for attention. Sometimes it's quiet. It hides in plain sight, tucked behind routine and familiarity. Maybe it's that stack of papers on the counter you keep meaning to file, or the basket by the stairs that's turned into a permanent, temporary spot. Once you start asking this question regularly, your eyes sharpen. You begin noticing small things before they grow into big messes. It's a small mental shift, but it changes the energy of your space completely. The more you notice, the less overwhelmed you'll feel, and the more your home will feel alive again. Tip 6 is inviting a friend over for honest feedback. It's not because they're judging, it's because they have fresh eyes. That's why this next tip is so powerful. Invite a trusted friend to walk through your space and give you honest feedback. When you live in a place every day, you start overlooking things. But a friend, they'll notice the pile of stuff on the counter, the overstuffed bookshelf, or that corner of the room that's quietly turned into a storage zone. You don't even need to make it a big event. Just ask them to visit, walk around, and tell you what stands out to them. I once asked a close friend to do this with me. She walked into my living room and within 5 minutes pointed out 3 things I hadn't noticed in months: the stack of old magazines by the sofa, a basket of random cables under the table, and a wall shelf that looked more chaotic than curated. None of it was bad, but hearing it out loud made me realize how much visual noise those things created. It can feel a bit uncomfortable at first, but it's incredibly helpful. You'll be surprised at how differently someone else experiences your space. Their feedback isn't about perfection, it's about helping you see what's hiding in plain sight. Sometimes a single comment like, "This corner feels crowded," can completely shift how you view your home. When you bring another set of eyes into your space, it's like hitting refresh on your awareness. And once you see your home differently, it becomes much easier to take action and create a space that feels lighter, calmer, and more intentional. Moving on to decluttering by necessity. Do I really need this? It sounds obvious, but when you start asking it seriously, the answers can be surprisingly honest. We keep so many things out of habit clothes we might wear again someday, old cables for devices we don't even own, or sentimental trinkets that lost their meaning years ago. I remember going through my kitchen drawers one evening and realizing half of what was inside hadn't been touched in months. I had 2 can openers, 3 identical spatulas, and a whisk I didn't even remember buying. None of them were doing anything except taking up space. When I finally asked, "Do I really need this?" the answer came quickly. No, I didn't. Letting go of those extras didn't just free up the drawer, it made cooking feel calmer, more efficient, and somehow more enjoyable. This question strips away excuses. It helps you stop holding on just in case and start living with intention. You begin to notice what truly supports your daily life and what's just filling space. And once you realize that the things you use and love are enough, you stop chasing more. There's something incredibly freeing about standing in a room and knowing that everything there earns its place. That's when decluttering stops feeling like a chore and starts feeling like peace. Then there's the one item a day habit to keep things under control. Sometimes the hardest part about decluttering isn't knowing what to do, it's finding the time or the energy to do it. That's why this next tip is all about consistency over perfection. Let go of just one item every single day. That's it. One thing. It might sound too small to matter, but it's not. Because when you do it daily, it becomes second nature, a quiet rhythm that slowly transforms your home. One day it's a shirt you never wear, the next it's an expired spice in the kitchen, or that random charger you've been keeping just in case. These tiny choices add up faster than you'd think. I started this habit during a really busy season of my life when I didn't have time for big clean-outs. Every morning while brushing my teeth, I'd look around and pick one thing to let go of, something I hadn't used, needed, or even noticed in a while. After a few weeks, my bathroom drawers felt lighter, my closet looked more manageable, and I hadn't once felt overwhelmed. This small daily action builds momentum. You start feeling capable again, like you're finally in control of your space instead of being buried by it. And the best part, you don't need a weekend overhaul or hours of planning, just a few mindful seconds a day. If you stay consistent with this one day, you'll look around and realize your home feels different, calmer, simpler, and easier to live in. Almost there, the 5-minute tidy is a game changer. There's a reason most people never stick with big cleaning days. They're exhausting. By the time you finish one area, another one's already messy again. That's why the 5-minute tidy works so well. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing something consistently. Here's how it works once a day. Pick a small area, your kitchen counter, the nightstand, the entryway, and give it just 5 minutes of focused attention. Set a timer if you need to. You'd be surprised how much you can reset in such a short time. Sometimes it's simply stacking books, tossing out old receipts, or putting laundry back where it belongs. I started doing this right before bed. I'd take 5 minutes to walk through the main room, clearing anything that didn't belong. It became this quiet, grounding ritual. No rush, no pressure. Some nights, I only managed to put away a few things, but waking up to a calm, tidy space in the morning changed the way my day began. The point isn't perfection, it's rhythm. 5 minutes is small enough that you'll actually do it, but powerful enough to make a visible difference over time. And once it becomes a habit, your home stays under control almost effortlessly. So instead of waiting for the perfect day to clean, just take 5 minutes today. Your future self will thank you. Next is organizing by how you actually use things. Have you ever noticed that clutter often comes back? Because things aren't stored where you actually use them. That's the hidden reason behind most messes. Not too much stuff, but misplaced stuff. The easiest way to keep your home organized is to arrange things by how and where you use them. It sounds simple, but it changes everything. Keep mugs and tea bags near the kettle, not across the kitchen. Store extra towels in the bathroom instead of the hallway closet. Put cleaning supplies under the sink where you'll reach for them. When things live close to their purpose, they naturally find their way back home. I realized this while constantly moving back and forth between rooms to grab things I needed. My kitchen towels were in a drawer across the room, the trash bags were nowhere near the bin, and it made every small task feel more tiring than it should have been. Once I rearranged everything by how I actually used it daily, life felt smoother. I wasn't wasting time walking around, and the clutter stayed under control without much effort. And that's the beauty of this approach. It's not about making your space look Pinterest perfect, it's about making it make sense. When everything has a logical place, tidying becomes easier, faster, and less stressful. You don't have to think about it, it just flows. Organizing by function, not just aesthetics, is what keeps your space calm long after you've decluttered. It's the quiet difference between a home that always needs fixing and one that quietly works with you every single day. Almost done, let go of what you don't use anymore. It's funny how easily I might need it. Someday turns into an entire drawer full of forgotten things. We tell ourselves we'll use it again, that it might come in handy, but months, even years go by, and it just sits there quietly taking up space. The truth is, if you haven't used it in a long time, you probably don't need it. One evening I went through the cabinet under my bathroom sink. There were half-empty bottles, expired skincare, and a hair product I bought because someone online swore it was life-changing. I hadn't touched most of them in over a year. It hit me that every single thing I wasn't using was stealing space and adding noise to my day. So I cleared them out one by one. I tossed the expired items, gave away unopened ones, and kept only what I truly used. The difference was immediate. My mornings felt calmer, faster, lighter. We often underestimate how much mental weight unused things carry. Every object you keep, even tucked away, quietly demands your attention. It needs space, it needs cleaning, it needs remembering. And each time you open a drawer or a cabinet full of unused items, a small part of you feels that heaviness. But when you start letting go, that weight slowly lifts. You don't need to do it all at once. Open one drawer, one shelf, one basket. Ask yourself, when was the last time I actually used this? If the answer makes you pause, that's your cue. You'll realize that clearing physical space also clears emotional space. The less you hold on to things you don't use, the more your home and your mind can finally breathe again. And finally, reset after every activity to maintain your space. One of the simplest ways to keep your home tidy without feeling like you're always cleaning is to reset after every activity. It's not a rule, it's a rhythm. When you finish something, take a minute to bring the space back to neutral before moving on. After cooking, wipe the counter. After folding laundry, put it away. After reading, return the book to its shelf. It sounds small, almost too simple to matter, but this habit keeps clutter from building up in the first place. Because clutter doesn't happen overnight, it sneaks in one "I'll do it later" at a time. Those small resets act like quiet boundaries, keeping the mess from spreading while making your home easier to maintain. I started doing this without realizing it. After dinner one night, instead of leaving the dishes for the morning, I spent 2 minutes rinsing them and clearing the table. The next morning, walking into a clean kitchen felt like a gift I had given myself. It set the tone for my whole day, calm, steady, unrushed. Over time, that feeling became addictive in the best way. When you start doing tiny resets like this, you stop seeing tidying as a chore. It just becomes part of living a natural pause between moments. The more you practice it, the more you'll notice your home staying cleaner without effort. And that's the goal, not perfection, but peace. Your home doesn't need to be spotless to feel good. It just needs to breathe with you. Activity, reset, rest, over and over again. So those are 12 ways to start creating a home that feels lighter, calmer, and more peaceful without needing a full weekend to get there. Each small change builds on the last, and over time, they add up to something bigger than just a tidy space. They create ease. Remember, decluttering isn't about perfection or chasing minimalism. It's about making room for quiet mornings, for clear thoughts, for the kind of peace that doesn't disappear when life gets busy. Even if you only try one or two of these tips, you'll start to notice the difference in how your home feels and how you feel in it. If you're ready to take the next step, I have another video that goes deeper into decluttering room by room. It'll help you keep this momentum going. And if this video helped you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Not for the algorithm, but so that we can keep building this rhythm together, one small, calm step at a time.